Come. Siya pa walk. Walk with the big boy. Okay, you ready, boy? Let's go. Let's go, boy. Let's have a walk. Come on. Go! Come on. Hey, boy. Ha? Sirta. Nawag ka nga na ilakad-lakad. Yung marunggay ta nga eh. Kalitan to no Sabado. Mulaan ta di Betchay. Tano maamo na ka, tano umamo kinyam. Sabado ah. Alan ta pa di alad. Anta di balak ko makarati ko ati ngay chicken wire. May ya. O nga, basta mapatungan mo chicken wire din, mayat. Di purpose mo na di ka maharangon di aso eh. Tanong mo. Tanong makaunag ka. Niluto mo on. Nagimas si marunggay. Permi ah. May kumapit na dadi. Ha? Napait. Oo. Adobo ko ma. Inadobong ko ma. Pait. Asin. Ugasam di asin. Yang harus ganyan nakan. Oy, isa ba? Ayan nga. Ipagnak pa natin. Kaya mo, bagam na kayo magpapukis. Kaya mo? Papukis ka? Ibang natatay. Ano kaya mo? O rin ni Jasper, no kaya na? Yan, libre. Ayan nga. Bagam no kaya nagpukis o rin di ka apom? No kaya nagpukis? Ilalaki. Isupay. Eh. Okay. Nakakita si Chicks si Uncle. Alright, boy. Let's go, boy. Let's go. Come on. Hey, boy. Come on. Let's go. 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 Let's go, boy. Come on, Robbie boy, let's go. Work.
Required to testify in connection with its ongoing inquiry in aid of legislation into the reported anomalies in certain DPWH projects, blood control projects. Bago ko po ilahad ang aking nalalaman sa mga bagay na nais tumbukin ng kagalang-galang na Blue Ribbon Committee, ako po ay umaamin sa aking maling nagawa.
Tatay.
Ako po ay hindi naging matatag at tapat sa pagpapatupad ng tungkulin na pinagkatiwala sa akin ng ating pamahalaan at sambayanan. Taus-puso at puno ng pagsisisi na ako po ay humihingi ng kapatawaran sa Diyos, sa ating bansa at mga kababayan, gayon din sa aking pamilya, mga kaibigan at sa lahat ng aking binigo. Nakagawa po ako ng pagkakamali at pinahintulutan ko po ang aking sarili na maging kasangkapan sa pagpapatupad ng isang masamang gawain. Handa po akong gawin ang lahat ng nararapat upang maiwasto ang aking kamalian at maiwasan na ito'y mangyaring muli. I wish to assure the Honorable Blue Ribbon Committee of my full cooperation with the investigation. I am submitting an affidavit outlining my knowledge of and involvement in certain events material to the subject of investigation. Moreover, I will disclose and expound on related incidents within my personal knowledge, mindful not only of the materiality of my testimony, but also of my rights, as well as fearful of what effects my disclosures will have on my family's safety and well-being. I have applied before the Department of Justice for coverage as a state witness under Republic Act number 6981, otherwise known as Witness Protection, Security and Benefit Act. I hope the Honorable Blue Ribbon Committee will find merit in my application and favorably endorse the same to the DOJ. With the assurance of the Honorable Blue Ribbon Committee that my rights and benefits under RA 6981 shall be respected, I am prepared to submit the aforesaid affidavit to Honorable Blue Ribbon Committee and swear to and testify on the same with the approval of the Honorable DOJ Secretary of the disclosure thereof for such purposes. The highly sensitive nature of the disclosures made in my affidavit cannot be stressed enough. These deal with involvement in irregularities of 4 senators and 1 congressman,
Patay.
1 member of a constitutional commission, and 1 undersecretary, seriously undermining public trust in 2 out of 3 branches of our government and a constitutional body, thereby posing a significant threat to our national security as it may lead to political instability, which may weaken the ability of the government to function effectively. 25 of September 2025, Makati City, Metro Manila. And this, Mr. Chair, signed na po ito.
Okay kayo.
May we hear from Secretary Remulla since he mentioned about his application for admission into the program?
Your Honor, we will have to evaluate his statements in relation to all the other testimonies that we have gathered in the DOJ and in the Blue Ribbon Committee.
Patay kayo.
The Senate President.
Chairman, we would like to listen to your sworn affidavit, if you have one, or an affidavit that you will swear to complete the disclosure that you're talking about. Otherwise, those are mere general statements. please. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. President, Mr. Chair, may I be allowed to read the
Yes, you may proceed, Yusek Bernardo.
affidavit? I, Roberto R. Bernardo, Filipino, of legal age, a resident of Malolos City, Bulacan, under oath, deposed and state. In connection with the ongoing Senate Blue Ribbon Committee investigations, I intend to submit this affidavit which provides details of my knowledge about matters within my jurisdiction relating to flood control projects when I was still serving as Undersecretary for Operations of the Department of Public Works and Highways. This affidavit lays out details.
Sorry, excuse me. You have your counsel now with you?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
po.
on record. Okay.
This affidavit lays out details of the
that's
involvement of legislators
Come on.
as well as
Hey,
other
wait.
government officials with a commitment on my part to
Go.
expand
Go.
these disclosures as my
Bye,
best
bye.
recollection of facts and records may serve. Since number 3, since the receipt an invitation to appear in these proceedings, I began collating, vetting, and consolidating all written communications, documents, tables, and matrices and lists in my possession, the retrieval of which has been difficult since I retired from public service last August 2025. With the benefit of more time and greater freedom to access files, I am confident that I can provide even more material and relevant evidence that would clarify the issues once and for all. Number 4, more importantly, I am executing and submitting this affidavit with my full and absolute consent as an integral part of my application to be admitted under the Witness Protection Program through the favorable recommendations of the Honorable Chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee, Senator Ping Lacson, and the Honorable Senate President Tito Soto under Section 4 as well as Section 10 of Republic Act Number 6981, otherwise known as Witness Protection, Security and Benefit Act before the Department of Justice. I attest and confirm that the names, dates, and transactions mentioned hereunder are based on my direct personal knowledge and have ample documentary support where necessary or desirable if given full opportunity to retrieve the same. Background facts. I earned my bachelor's degree in science, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering in 1984. I am a registered civil engineer by profession. In the year 1985, I began my 40-year stint in the DPWH as a laborer. I then climbed the ranks through the years as Associate Civil Engineer, Engineer 2, Engineer 3, and as Assistant District Engineer, Assistant Regional Director. I then became Assistant Regional Director CESO 4 sometime in 2012 until my appointment as Assistant Secretary in 2016. I finally became Undersecretary more than a year later and remained such until my retirement on August 2025. I met former District Engineer Henry Alcantara during my assignment in the Laguna 2nd District Engineering Office. Engineer Alcantara, Engineer Bryce Hernandez, Engineer J.P. Mendoza, and Engineer Alfie Dumasing all belong to the Bulacan First DEO. 2020-2040 scheme. Sometime after the State of the Nation address of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. in July 2025, and while I was already on sick leave, I heard from Secretary Bunoan for the first time that Engineer Alcantara, Engineer Hernandez, Engineer Mendoza, and Engineer Dumasing were engaged in contracting activities using the licenses of other contractors. Subsequently, Engineer Hernandez confirmed this arrangement through one of the legislative hearings and by other contractors whose license they used. According to Bryce Hernandez, their sharing is 20-20-20-40% from these activities. My understanding is that they had prepared and signed documents for purposes of collecting payments, which they then apportioned the profits amongst themselves. However, I must admit that I have no personal knowledge on the exact actions they took to accomplish this scheme, and I can only be asked general questions on the systems in place that would have allowed this modus operandi to happen. I categorically state that I have neither knowledge nor participation in these business activities, which were entirely done by Engineer Alcantara, Engineer Hernandez, Engineer Mendoza, and Engineer Dumasig on their own. Ghost projects. At about the same time, after the 2025 SONA, I also heard for the first time that aside from the 2020-2040 scheme, were flood control projects, ghost projects, for which Engineer Alcantara, Engineer Hernandez, Engineer Mendoza, and Engineer Dumasig were also responsible. These were confirmed later by Secretary Bunaan during a separate legislative hearings. I called up Engineer Alcantara to ask him about these flood control ghost projects. He denied any participation. Subsequently, he likewise told me that he even convened the officers of Bulacan First DEO to confront them about these ghost projects, and that some officers, it was Engineer Hernandez who was the primary person responsible for the same. In the exact words of Engineer Alcantara, surprise po yan. I categorically state that I have neither knowledge nor participation in these flood control ghost projects. Congressman Saldico. My personal knowledge regarding Congressman Saldico are set out as follows. Congressman Saldico one time called me to say that he met Engineer Alcantara and wanted to confirm, maayos bang kausap si Engineer Alcantara? To which I replied, maayos po. Engineer Alcantara then told me that
Okay.
Saldico was asking for a 25% commission, and out of that amount, 2% was to be shared equally between Engineer Alcantara and myself. In his exact words, boss, hati na tayo sa 2%. Furthermore, Engineer Alcantara would tell me every time that he made deliveries of cash to Congressman Saldico in compliance with his commitment to Congressman Saldico. In this affidavit, I shall mention my personal knowledge regarding Senator Chis Escudero as follows. Maynard Gu and I are close friends, and we go years back. He is also a close friend and campaign contributor of Senator Chis Escudero. Maynard Gu asked me to submit a list of projects. I personally submitted a list of projects to Maynard Gu, and some of the items therein pertaining to Valenzuela and Marinduque projects were subsequently included in the General Appropriations Act. A copy of the list of Valenzuela and Marinduque projects is here to attach to this affidavit as Annex A. Annex A. When I gave him the list and in relation to the commitment, I asked him, Boss, paano to? Maynard replied, bahala ka na. I asked, Boss, okay na ba ang 20%? Maynard said, okay. After inclusion of the projects in the GAA, I delivered 20% of approximately 800 million or about 160 million to Maynard Ngu, which was meant for Senator Escudero. Finally, I would like to add that deliveries of cash were personally made to me, by me, to Maynard Ngu at his office in Manila. I confirmed that Commissioner Lipana requested that he be referred to officers of DPW's Bulacan First DEO. I referred him to Engineer Bryce Hernandez. I have no personal knowledge if they were able to secure a project in Bulacan First DEO. Furthermore, and subject to possible referral to an executive session upon the approval of the Honorable Chairman, I attest to the broader systemic issues in DPWAs that are widespread. My statements hereunder are based on personal knowledge and direct interactions with the personalities involved with great risk to my safety and that of my family members. I confirm the following. Yusek Traigi Olaybar of DepEd. Yusek Traigi Olaybar used to work for Senator Ramon Bong Revilla and Senator Sani Angara before his appointment as Yusek for the Department of Education. Sometime 2010, I met for the first time Yusek Olaybar, who was then working in the office of Senator Bong Revilla. Later, I learned that he transferred to the office of Senator Edgardo Angara and then later to Senator Sani Angara. Sometime 2024, Yusek Olaybar personally called me for a meeting to discuss about unprogrammed appropriations, supposedly for the office of the Executive Secretary. In the said meeting, he requested me to submit a list of projects. After the meeting, I asked Bulacan First DEO to prepare a list of projects for funding. Thereafter, Engineer Alcantara submitted a list of projects worth 2.85 billion. Here to attach as Annex B is a list of those projects. Subsequently, I submitted this list to Yusek Olivar. Yusek Olivar told me that the commitment is 15%. In his words, boss, 15 yan. Thereafter, the DPWS received a special allotment release order for 2.85 billion for the projects listed in Annex B. Engineer Alcantara, from time to time, would collect and deliver the agreed 50% commitment to me, which I delivered or caused to be delivered to Yusek Olivar in Magallanes, Makati, and other places. Senator Ramon Bong Revilla. Sometime in the year 2024, Senator Revilla and I met where I gave him a list of projects given to me by Engineer Alcantara. Senator Revilla asked for a commitment, which I suggested. Then he approved at 25% of the total amount. Then he approved at 25% of the total amount of the projects indicated in the list here to attach as Annex C. I relayed the 25% commitment to Engineer Alcantara and told him that Senator Revilla will appreciate additional contributions for his senatorial re-election bid. Engineer Alcantara collected the 25% commitment for about 125 million, which was turned over to me and then delivered to Senator Revilla in his house in Cavite. Senator Nancy Binay.
Patay.
Sometime in the year 2024, Carlin Villa, a staff of trusted confidant of Senator Binay, called me and asked for a commitment which was set at 15% of the total amount of the projects indicated in the list here to attach as Annex D. I relayed the 15% commitment to Engineer Alcantara. Engineer Alcantara collected 15% commitment for about 37 million, which was turned over to me and which I then delivered to Senator Binay at a house in Quezon City. Given the complexities of the transactions and personalities involved, I humbly reserve the right to submit a supplementary affidavit if warranted in the premises. I attest to the truth of the foregoing statements based on my personal knowledge and authentic records. In witness thereof, I will be affixing my signature this day of September 2025 here, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, kindly sign your affidavit in the presence of everybody.
Patay na. Si Binay.
Here, Mr. Chair, I have already
Binay. Revilla.
You signed the same
Angara.
you read, no?
May isa ba?
Thank
Sino
you.
ba isa?
Maraming salamat, Yusek. Secretary Remulla is recognized.
Your Honor, after hearing his affidavit and his willingness to disclose all other details about the transactions that happened under his watch, may I respectfully ask the committee to allow the
Nanonood
DOJ
sila.
to have an
Nako po!
evaluation of Mr.
Wala na! Senator! Apat!
Um,
Sumabit na
this
apat!
matter has to be done because of
Binay!
the gravity of the situation.
Si Angara! Si Revilla!
Work overtime,
Oo! Yeah, pakinggan mo.
on legal
Oo,
matters
Nancy.
that are needed or necessary legal matters so that we can preserve
Pakinggan.
monies and other things that are
Nagano na si Bernardo. Yung isa, hindi ko pa alam eh.
Secretary Remulla, will you be open to
Laglagan na.
answer some questions addressed to the Secretary of Justice before you leave? Just like the last time. No, not
Buti
to
lumabas.
Yusek Bernardo, but to the Secretary for some
Angara pala.
I mean,
Angara,
the Secretary
Sani,
of DOJ,
Nancy
not to the-
Binay, Revilla. Yung isa pa eh.
You have to bring him back after lunch, no?
Estrada medyo hindi pa klaro eh.
Will you be willing to not Yusek Bernardo.
Ayo, si
I'm
Jesus
referring
is Lord.
my, question to
Yan.
Secretary Remulla.
So, anin daw yata eh, no?
Accommodate just a few questions from
Oh.
the members if they're
Yes, Your Honor. Of
okay.
course.
So we'll start with whoever. Senator Erwin Tulfo is first on the list, kindly. But kindly limit your questions to, in the meantime, no, to Secretary Remulla. Mamaya na lang yung kay Undersecretary
Anong ulam?
Bernardo.
Kuyang. Walang papaitan ngayon, dinakdakan.
You have some questions?
Ay, hindi. Meron ako mga balat. Meron akong balat.
Alis ni Secretary Remulla, alis din si Bernardo.
Hindi ka pa na-order na.
Pwede.
Ano? Biyernes, pwede.
Ang kasundo natin,
Oo, habang
pagbalik
nanonood
na
tayo
lang
ng
kasi
ganyan.
haba eh. And they have work
May
to
pasok
do.
pa bukas.
So we are accommodating them in the same manner that we accommodated Alcantara.
Tahin lang natin yan.
Engineer Alcantara.
Hanggang
To
maubos
be
sa mga
brought
kurap.
immediately to the DOJ for
Mga
evaluation
langya.
for some procedure. And after that, we can all have all the time in the world. Maski hanggang madaling araw kung gusto mong tanongin si Yusek Bernardo.
O siya, pero
you can.
ito, for the benefit of pala, general question.
We're just postponing. We're not rejecting your request to propound questions.
Kasi sa akin kasi, sir, pag sabi niya ngayon dito, diretso kagad file ng kaso sa DOJ, without
No,
us
no.
giving the benefit na makapagtanong man
Yan
lang.
na, laglagan na.
No, I think the thing is that the Department of Justice, as much as possible, would like to evaluate first. They will not file any cases against anyone. But subsequently, filing of cases will follow. Kung sana naman bago siya consider doon, dito muna sa atin. Dahil sa atin niya nilahad yung statement niya. So, hindi naman niya nilahad sa DOJ, sa atin muna. So, sana makapagtanong tayo bago natin turn over sa DOJ for their consideration.
Patay na kayo.
Mr. Chair, I think the point...
Hearing is suspended.
Patay na. Kalokohan nyo. Yari.
Inamin doon sa sworn statement ni Henry Alcantara na kung saan at itong si Bryce Hernandez ang magkakasabwat ni Zaldico na kung saan nag-deliver sila ng suitcases of pera, tangkas-tangkas, mali-malitang pera na nag-total ng 1 billion in cash doon sa penthouse ng Shangri-La hotel according to the PWH engineers. Mahigit 20 cases sa kabuuan ay 1 bilyong piso ang dineliver sa isang pagkakataon lang doon sa penthouse ni Zaldico. Okay? According to Alcantara and Hernandez. Bawat suitcase ay naglalaman ng 50 million, mga kababayan. At makikita nyo na ganito na lang grabe, walang hiyain ni Zaldico, ni Romualdez. Ang nakikita nyo dito, kung titignan nyo yung flow ng Senate meeting, ang dinidiin ni Zaldico na, inilalabas na nila si Romualdez. May magdamas ng 110. Nakita nyo? Ang idinidiin si Zaldico, medyo nawala na nila si Martin Tambalos na Romualdez. Alam nyo naman na hindi makakagalaw si Zaldico bilang dating chairman on Committee on Appropriation noong 19th Congress. Hindi siya
Standby ang Blue Ribbon Committee. Kita yan. Standby muna. So yan. Patay kayo. Yari, mga magnanakaw.
Hindi siya makakagawa ng ganyan kung hindi siya binasbasan ni Tambalos. So, sabi ng Tito Bong,
Side, here. Hey boy. Here. The other side.
Exactly. Bad karma sa kanya, good karma sa
Hmm.
kanya. Totoo yun, mga kababayan. Kaya parang nag-deliver sila ng pera. Napupuntahan natin sa budget national bank. para magbaga daw ng mga construction projects na bridges, roads, hospitals, schools. Na yung mga suitcases na pinipili nila, papunta doon sa penthouse ng shower lot, ay diretso na doon sa from the parking, diretso na sa edificio. Hindi na, no, sa
Nga, Uber? Deliver? Oh. Mayabas.
There are no senators who wish to propound questions. I think you can to the OJ Secretary.
Sure,
Yes, Senator.
OJ.
Okay.
Secretary Remulla, sir.
Ano ang impact nito
Can
sa
we confirm from you, so far sa itong tinatakbo na investigasyon natin, kung ilan na yung na-admit ninyo sa witness protection program from our resource persons, kung meron na ba?
Sir, under the witness protection program, dalawang klaseng testigo po. One is a protected witness, people who testify in proceedings. If they request assistance from the DOJ, we give them a protected witness status, which means bibigyan mo namin sila ng security at yung mga ibang benefits pwede nila makuha. Ang kapagkakaiba lang, pag sinabi kong state witness, ibang procedure din po yun. Kaya yung po yung ina-evaluate kayo.
Oh, shoot.
Sa dami po ng transaksyon na nandito, inaayos po namin, tinitingnan ho namin kung paano ano talagang krimen sa kami mag-concentrate. At yung kaninang testimony po, pinapahalaga under the Witness Protection Act. Yun po, kailangan po makita namin kanino talaga ang necessary para makakuha kami ng conviction later on. Yun po lang ho ang ano dito.
Sir, so far, sir,